Hello, and welcome to Sight Reading Basics, your 2-week jumpstart to learning how to sight read piano music. So before we start, I want you to adopt the piano player mindset. So mindset is so important that it really makes a huge difference what mindset you're in before delving into a new activity. And in this case, it's music. So it really takes a lot of focus, concentration, and it's not the easiest thing in the world. So you want to have the mindset of coming as you are. Come as you are to the piano. I say, play as you are. So we're not going to be reading Mozart here in the next couple weeks, okay? But if you take what you learn here and you practice and you just better yourself just a little bit every day, eventually, yes, you will be able to sight read Mozart. And that's what we are aiming for. That's what I want to teach you to be able to do. So have fun with this. Music is fun. And when it gets hard, keep your eyes on the prize. Remember that piece you're trying to learn, whether it's Mozart or Chopin, or maybe it's a pop song that you've had the music for laying around for years and you could just never get past the first measure. Remember that and keep your focus on what we're doing right now. Okay, so don't get frustrated. A word about technique. I don't want to worry about this too much. As a beginner, especially for the first 2 weeks, don't worry about it. But I do say for posture is important. I want you to sit straight and smile. So the energy that you have while you play is, in part determined by if you're slouching, if you're sitting like this. Obviously, you're not going to have as much energy than if you're sitting straight. So that's why posture is important. And a smile on your face just lightens up the mood for everything that anything that you can be doing. So smile. And for those of you who have been playing piano, maybe you've been playing by ear, or maybe you have read some music before, or maybe you're coming back to it. Just a quick note, if you do want to work on technique, my recommendation is what I call half apples. So bottom of your palms touching, very natural position, so you're not strained like this in triangles or in a heart, just like you're holding an apple. And someone comes from behind you and goes whoosh, and cuts the apple in half. You've got 2 half apples. That's sort of the technique you want. Very light, loose, natural half apple. You can also do the old put your hands on your knees and then lift them up, and it's pretty much the same position we're talking about. So on with the program. Sight reading essentials number 1. So we're going to talk about theory for a little bit. We're going to go into time signatures, note values and rests. We're going to go over the grand staff, what it looks like on sheet music, and of course, note recognition. So time signatures, if you haven't seen these already, this is the number that is right next to the clef signs here. So we have this symbol here, it's the treble clef. We'll get into that in a couple slides. And then the bass clef, and this number, 4/4, stacked on top of each other. So the top number will tell you how to count. So if you see a 4, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. If you see another number, you're going to count in, for example, 3s or in 2s, and I'll show you that in a minute as well. The bottom number will tell you which note value gets 1 count. So if you don't already know what that means, again, don't worry about it. We're not going to be seeing a different number under there for quite a while. So if you have 3, 4, you'd be counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so on. 2, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, etc. Okay, note values and rests. So in this program, for the 2 weeks, we are only going to be worried about quarter notes and rests, half notes and rests, dotted half notes and rests, and of course, the whole note and whole rest. So in chart form, so you could see right here, the whole note, this is big fat note, and this is what the whole rest looks like. Dotted half note looks like this, and then the rest. Half note, quarter note looks like this. So take a minute to compare the differences. Okay, and even the eighth note, we won't be playing the eighth note for these couple weeks, but I put it on this chart anyway, just so you can have it as a reference for the future. So this might be one of the images that you might want to screenshot. I know I'm in the corner here somewhere, but if you can cut that out or whatever you need to do, this is a good reference to have. You know, we're going to be looking at this quite a bit. And so just to review, the quarter note, it's going from the bottom to the top. The eighth note is worth half a beat. I don't want to get too into that. The quarter note is worth 1 beat. Okay, and that's what the quarter rest looks like. The half note looks like this. It's like a quarter note, but then it's empty inside. That's worth 2 beats. That's what the half rest looks like. Dotted half is worth 3. Okay, and then the whole note, this big fat one, whole rest, that's worth 4. Now on to the grand staff. So we have here the treble clef, as I mentioned briefly earlier. This is what it looks like. And we also have the bass clef here. So the treble clef is usually played with your right hand at the top, and the bass clef is usually played with your left hand at the bottom. Again, for this beginner's course, just take it as a rule of thumb that the treble clef means right hand, bass clef means left. So when you combine the clefs and our time signature and this is called the brace and the bars and all these staff lines, we have what we call the grand staff, and this is what our music is written on. So each note that you see on the grand staff, as I'll show you in a minute, tells us exactly which key on the entire 88 keys on the keyboard to play. So starting with middle C. If you don't already know middle C, I'm going to introduce you to him right now. So middle C is our anchor of note reading. Okay, and many of your beginner pieces are going to begin on middle C. So C is the note, the white key right to the left of the groups of 2 black keys. So notice the pattern for a moment. You have 2 black keys, 3 black keys, 2 black keys, 3 black keys, and so on. So you will always be able to find C right to the left of the first black key in the sets of 2. Okay? So this is the first C on the keyboard. I've indicated with this black arrow. And then, 2 black keys, white key right to the left, that's another C. Next set of 2 black keys, white key right to the left, that's the 3rd C on the keyboard. And the 4th C on the keyboard is middle C. And of course, this is on a full 88 key keyboard. The 4th C is middle C. And this is what middle C looks like on the grand staff. So you see it's hanging off of the staff lines with a tiny little line through it. And that's kind of going to be your quick way of being able to tell if it's middle C. It's got one little line through it and it's hanging right below the staff. And this is for the treble clef. So a common beginner position is to have your thumbs on middle C. So if you were to play this note, let's say this was the beginning of a piece, you'd have your right hand thumb resting on middle C and you'd play middle C with your thumb. So moving on to the note names, the first 7 letters of the alphabet are used to name the notes on the keyboard. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it repeats. So I've started here with C with this little diagram, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So see how it repeats? Only 7 letters you need to worry about. So there's no H, okay? Just A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So on the left here, we have D on the grand staff. This is what D looks like. So if you notice from C, just one step above on the space here that's stuck to this last line on the treble clef, that's D. And then on the right over here, that's even one step higher than D, which makes E. So E is on the first line of the actual staff. Not to be confused with C, that's hanging off of the staff with the tiny line of its own through it. Okay, E is on the already drawn line. Okay? So here's maybe another screen you might want to screenshot and save somewhere. We're going to be using this quite a bit. I don't want you to use it too much actually, but for now you can use it as a reference guide. So let's start with middle C here. This is what it looks like on the treble clef if we remember from a couple slides ago. On the bass clef, the exact same key, middle C, looks like this. So the difference is that on the bass, middle C is above the staff lines. Notice that. And on the treble, it's below the staff lines. That's huge, okay? It's the same note, but it looks different on the different clefs. And then right now, just focusing on the treble clef notes. C, next note up is D, next note up is E, and then F, G, and so on. So to make this a little bit easier for you, and you're going to have worksheets on this, going through the treble clef space notes. So make sure you can tell the difference between space notes and line notes. So we only have 4 spaces on the staff. And we have 5 lines, if you can see. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. And on the space notes, it spells the word face. How convenient. So space rhymes with face. It's a quick way to remember. F-A-C-E. And then on the lines, it's E-G-B-D-F, but what we use to remember here, it also rhymes. Every good boy does fine. So line and fine. Every good boy does fine on the lines right here. This is E, second line's G, third line's B, fourth line's D, fifth line, last line is F. So for the treble clef, we are lucky to get rhymes. We have space and face and line, and every good boy does fine. Now on the bass clef, we're not so fortunate. We just kind of have to remember and not confuse them. Bass clef space notes is A-C-E-G. And what we use to remember this is all cows eat grass. Okay, so not to be confused with good boys, every good boy does fine. Okay, I've had some students, it's hilarious when it happens, but I want you to prevent this from happening. Don't confuse the good boys with the cows. Because I had one of my students say once, all good boys eat grass, or something like that. We don't want that to happen to you. So just remember, bass clef space notes, all cows eat grass. It doesn't rhyme. Bass clef is not going to rhyme, okay? Next, bass clef line notes. Again, it doesn't rhyme. G, B, D, F, A. We use good boys do fine always. G, B, D, F, A. The first line is G, second line is B, third line is D, fourth line is F, last line is A. Line, always, it doesn't rhyme. So if it rhymes, remember that it's in the treble clef, and if it does not, then you're in the bass. So moving right along, sight reading essentials number 2, rhythm. Rhythm, rhythm, rhythm. Rhythm is so important, and you're going to be spending a lot of time on this in this 2-week program. So right now I only have one exercise for you, but you are going to have flashcards. You're going to have a nice set of flashcards to practice different rhythms, and they're digital flashcards. so you can check your answers. On the back side, there's going to be a function where you could press play and you could actually hear what the rhythm's supposed to sound like. So, but for now, let's try to go through this exercise. So we're going to act like we're in 4/4 time signatures. So just the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to clap. So going to this first section here, we're just going to clap 4 beats, 4 counts. So every time you count a number, you're going to clap. So it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So go ahead and try doing that by yourself. Okay? Pause the video. Pause the video, take your time. This is a video. Okay, this is one of the benefits of having a video is you get to go at your own pace. If something's easy, you progress faster. If something's not so easy, you have the ability to pause and try it again. Now, don't take this for granted. I know in this age, everything is just technology. But think about how many years ago, not even that long, 10, 15, 20 years ago, they didn't have the ease in following along with instructional videos like these. You know, it was either on some VCR where it was a hassle to just press pause and then you press play and it goes back. Anyway, I'm just saying this to get you to really take advantage of the technology that we have and pause the video. Take your time. Don't rush through this. The best students are the ones that really sit with each lesson until they master it before moving on. So if you followed me at all up until this point, you know how big I am with mastering the basics. So please take your time, okay? And then once you get the quarter notes going into the half notes. So you're going to count still 1, 2, 3, 4, but you're only clapping on beats 1 and 3. So it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and so on. So again, pause and try clapping through that for a minute. Then when you've mastered that, go ahead and do dotted half notes. This is going to sound like 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So it's pretty basic, but I'm telling you, some people struggle with even these. So don't feel bad if you're scrambling, trying to get yourself together. Pause the video, take your time. Last one we're going to do here is clapping whole notes. So it seems easier, you're clapping less, but it's actually harder to keep a steadier rhythm when you're holding longer. Okay, so clapping the whole notes, it's going to go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, steady. 3, 4. Keep it steady. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So get comfortable with that. And then let's try to clap through this whole section, this whole thing I've drawn out here. Okay, so counting and clapping, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Half notes. 1, hold, 3, hold. 1, hold, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So don't let this half note confuse you. Don't hold an extra beat. I know I'm changing time signatures on you, but it's just a quick little exercise for you. Let's do that one more time. Ready, and 1, quarter notes, 2, 3, 4, half notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, hold, 2, 3, on 1, hold, 2, 3, 4. Good job if you got through that. If not, pause, rewind, try it again. So, to conclude this slideshow, Sight Reading Essentials number 3. This is your bulletproof checklist. So if you're taking notes, this is something you should write down. Okay, number one, look at the time signature. Look at the time signature. You have to know how you're counting. And then number two, count out loud and clap through the rhythm before playing. Number three, briefly study the first few notes in the overall pattern. This is important, and it's something that's so often skipped. And this is one of the problems we run into while we just jump into a piece and start playing. We never want to be hasty and jump right into something. You want to be very slow, very thoughtful, very methodical, okay? Number four, place your thumbs on middle C and prepare to play. This is going to be our position for quite a while. So place thumbs on middle C, get ready to play. And then number five, count out loud while you play. This is huge. This is huge. Now this is a free course, but this is premium level material. I'm telling you, my best students are the ones who are comfortable counting out loud. Counting does so much for your rhythm and steadiness and for your sight reading that I can't even begin to explain to you right now, unless we want to be here for 3 hours. Okay, so count out loud is a big one. Now, we're going to go right into what you've all been waiting for. Now that you have all the armor, you got the tools, we're ready to go out into the battlefield and see what music we're going to be reading today.